Okay. As always, our recordings of our virtual meetups will be available on YouTube about a week after the meetup, and we will post a message on the meetup group when the recording is ready. So now I'm very excited and pleased to introduce Sandra, Dr. Sandra Gesing. Okay. Okay, she is a senior research scientist at the Discovery Partner Institute, DPI, at the University of Illinois System. Her research focuses on science gateways, computational workflows, as well as distributed and parallel computing, which inherently leads to highly interdisciplinary projects. She is especially interested in sustainability of research software, usability of computational methods, and reproducibility of research results. And she can support open science initiatives. She is an academic editor of PeerJ, Computer Science and Frontiers. Sustainability of research software has many facets, and she is an advocate for improving career paths for research software engineers, facilitators, and for incentivizing their work via means beyond the traditional academic rewarding system. Community outreach and interdisciplinary events are crucial to contribute to changing academic culture. Prior to the position at DPI, she was an associate research professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering and computational scientist in the Center of Research Computing at the University of Notre Dame in Indiana, US. Before she moved to the US, she was a research associate in the Data Intensive Research Group at the University of Edinburgh in the UK in the area of data intensive workflows and in the Applied Bioinformatics Group at the University of Tübingen in Germany in the area of science gateways and grid computing. Additionally, she has perennial experience as a project manager and system developer in industry in the US and Germany. As head of a system programmer group, she has led long-term software projects like infrastructure on web-based applications. She received her German diploma, equivalent to a master's degree in computer science, from extramural studies at Bern Universität Hagen, and her PhD in computer science from the University of Tübingen in Germany. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing.
Thank you so much for this nice introduction.
Great.
And thank you so much for the fantastic pronunciation of Fernuniversität at Tübingen.
Okay. Okay, so you can take it over, Sandra.
Yes. So let me share my screen. You should see my slides now. And I will start the slideshow. You have to be kidding me. Go away. Why is it doing this now? Come on. So now it's okay. You see. Okay, so yeah, welcome to my talk, a worldwide movement to improve the recognition of research software. It's my pleasure to talk to this group, and I'm very excited that I've been invited. So if we look at research software, and there were several different surveys already in the last years, and this is one where it was mostly answered in the UK and in the US, and researchers were asked whether, whether they can do their research without research software or with, and how many of them use research software. And in the UK, 90% answered that they use research software, and 70% that they cannot do it without. And we have similar numbers also in the US. 95% use and 63% that they cannot do their research without any research software. But the whole landscape does not reflect that in training. For example, the research software engineers or the PhDs or the students, the postdocs who create research software have neither formal nor informal training, 50% of them in software engineering. And in the US, there's also a lack of career paths still, and also lack of an incentive to stay in academia and or in national labs if you don't want to do the normal academic traditional career paths. So, and if you look in the US, so the National Science Foundation, for example, between 95 and 2006, they had around 18,592 awards and 9.6 billion, where they gave funding to projects that reference software in their abstract. So and you can see all the different CSEs, for example, around computer science. We have around bio, around education, and also the different areas. So it's really going all over the different domains. So what is a research software engineer? What do I understand under this profession? And these are two definitions. One is from the US Research Software Engineer Association. I will talk more about the US RSE. And the other one is from the UK, from the Society for Research Software Engineering. And we like both at the US Research Software Engineer. So it's really around the people who use their expertise for programming to advance research, to understand also researchers who are interested to create software or who are leading teams which are creating software. So it's really a big part of the research landscape, the research software engineer. So if we look at USRC, the US Research Software Engineer Association, so where does the term come from? So 2012, the Software Sustainability Institute in the UK had a collaborations workshop and coined the term research software engineer. And then also the UK Research Software Engineer Association formed in late 2013. And since 2019, it's the Society of Research Software Engineering. And why do I have these grassroots and this, arrow here? It's like, so the associations are really grassroots community organizations. It's really, people are very active there and form their committees and working groups. And you see a picture here from one of the conferences in the UK. And the other, with the Software Sustainability Institute in the UK, there was also kind of leading effort that was planned so that it was given top down to the community and that there was funding. So both made it really possible to be very successful in the UK. And the other countries really also started to build this associations. And as you can see, it goes really from Africa to Australia, New Zealand, a couple of countries in Europe and the UK, Canada, the US, which is very impressive. And you can see how much really this concept also is needed for academia worldwide. This is, by the way, a nice picture from one of the conferences in Germany, where these are all people building the RSEs, and it was a photograph from a tower. So, and if we look at US RSE, so this is a map worldwide. So these are all our members. And US RSE, yes, of course, is mostly focused on the US, but that doesn't mean membership is for free. And if you are interested also internationally, you can join, of course, US RSE. So webinars and things like that are, of course, in the US time zone, but you can see people are interested to join also for our program. So how did US RSE form? So it was really a start in 17 and 18. And there was this US survey whether, RSEs are needed, what kind of career paths are there. And so 12 responded with interest to build the national community. And then at the UK Standard International RSE Leaders Meeting, there were 5 US delegates. I was one of those. And so we created then in 2018 the Slack workspace, and the first website did go live, and we did build the steering committee. And this is the current steering committee. We have 9 people with different roles. And we have already elections since 2020. So we have 2 former steering committee members, Charles and Jordan, who were also on the forming of the steering committee when we started off in 2018. So what is the mission of USRSE? So one is really to build the community, to create a professional community, and to have all these connections and knowledge and resources, and also not only to have the community, but to advocate and promote RSEs and the impact they have and the importance of their work. And then resources, so that there's access to information and material. And we, of course, want to promote, encourage, and improve diversity throughout the broader US research software engineer community. So how do we achieve that? So we built really since 2018 a couple of different program topics, chances to interact with the community. One is a newsletter. This is the communication from a working group to the community. We have community calls every month. We have working groups and regional groups, for example. So I will go for all these topics a little bit more into detail. And so I'm at the moment informing a Chicago regional group. So this would be very exciting. Maybe if you are interested in joining us. We have a job board which was really also taking up quite fast and really well. In average, we have often like 20 jobs at the same time on the job board for these. We have virtual workshop, and we shift to a conference next year. So we want to have a face-to-face conference, which is planned for October 2023 in Chicago, by the way, at the University of Illinois, Chicago on campus. So just, if you're interested, I can give also more information there. So we participate in conferences and BOFs and have a booth, and we start to have swag and raffles for swag, so that people can share and advertise that this community is existing. And we have an international committee and international RSE Day. So the RSE Day will come up in October. And that is the idea, since you have seen there is worldwide the community, that it's a chance maybe to exchange some talks, that all on these international RSE days, of course, through all the time zone, is a chance there that people can join each other's presentations or whatever the format is, but that it's really from the different continents together. And USRC has built out now a couple of partnerships, for example, with other community organizations like the Academic Data Science Alliance and the Community of Communities. And the Data Science Alliance, so we will have also events there. I will go into detail with that. So if you look at the growth, that is just from the US, and I'm sure also the other associations have seen much growth in the last years, with the recognition that this is an important community and that research software engineers are really needed in academia and at national labs. And this growth often, it jumps up a little bit when there were events or we participated in conferences, but I'm very happy with seeing that we have over 1,200 members really since 2018, in 4 years. That is, I think, a fantastic gain of members. Of course, we want more and to influence the academic landscape. So if we go through the different topics, for example, so we aim at a monthly newsletter. I'm responsible for it, and I have to admit, sometimes it's still only a bi-monthly one, dependent on how the deadlines are. So the July one was published on August 2nd, and you see the different topics. So we have a couple of topics which repeat in each newsletter, and then we have, for example, the steering committee recap is one of the sections where we inform everyone what the meetings were about. We have the USRC virtual workshop coming up in September. Steering committee elections will be in December again. So we have every year elections for the steering committee now. And so steering committee members are then elected for 2 years. And then their place is up for election again. So we had the USRC activities at PERC. So you see that there's like their community news. We have also RSE stories podcasts. We have, a community forum and different working groups. So, and our financials are at the moment, it's really a volunteer grassroots organization at the moment, which is also very exciting, but also it's hard without having really some funding. So we are working on funding also with Sloan and NSF, and otherwise we are working together with the Open Collective as an academic organization, and that we can represent the interest of research software engineers in the US, so that it's financially not bound to one university, but really as an organization. So yeah, and if you are interested, we have the monthly community calls, and this is also very community driven. We have 2 people who are taking care of the organization around it, but so you can suggest topics, you can ask whether you can do a community call, bring your topic in or organize one, or you can give a talk, or so we are very open to different formats here, and people can then organize with us these community calls. So if you look at the different working groups which have been really now successful, so the first working group which was built was the DEI, the Diversity, Equity and Inclusion working group. And we had last year our first speaker in a speaker series. So we have this about different topics of DEI. And we have a media club. So it started as a book club, and then it was a kind of nice, maybe also to include podcasts or, that's a different media to discuss. And I took also care of, we are uploading that now to, code of conduct. So it's all around that, it's a really friendly, welcoming community, but you want to also make sure that it stays that way. So yeah, another working group is there for the website. We have the new website now, the new layout, I think, for half a year. We have an education and training working group, which are really looking not only into providing material for different topics, but also providing like lectures and webinars. We have an outreach working group that looks at all different possibilities, from supporting the newsletter to looking at different conferences there to be part of. And we have the group for working groups, which, because everything was very, nothing was defined, of course, and we are still finding our ways, what is working well with communities, or, within the community, that people feel encouraged to participate in a couple of things, but also really like what we kind of program is there. So the group for working groups defines at the moment what working groups, how they can be built. And then there is the regional regional groups, working groups that looks into, because, so COVID is not going away, but it starts that we can have face-to-face meetings again, and it might be the nice to have this regional groups. And that is also, when you look at this, so these are our members, and where you see the yellow dots, that are regional groups at the moment where someone felt responsible to say, oh, I really want to do something with the local community, and then set maybe meetings up once a month or every 2 months and do something that is of interest and brings people together, not only virtually, but also face to face in that regard. That, because a lot of research software engineers are still working in silos, and having a local community can change that. So, and if we look at the job board, so that is an example for the job board where I said, yeah, it's often really filled. So if you have any job position where you think that that is really related to research software engineers, or, maybe really affiliated, we have also related openings like community managers in that space, or system engineers, or we have a couple of success stories there that really members did write us, oh, because of your job board, I have now a new position. I'm really very happy. So glad to hear about, success stories from our job board. And if you're interested, so the registration is open for the USRC virtual workshop. It is in September 14th and 16th. With the topic, make it happen towards a diverse and sustainable future. And we will publish the program next week. So just reach out to me or go to the website if you are interested to do this. And just saying, it's coming up in 2 weeks. So, but we have also other workshops. So, for example, another one which comes up in Chicago is the Data Scientist and RSE Career Support Workshop. So if you are interested maybe to be part of that, so you can also still apply for it, and it's in October. And this will be really with panels about what are the chances, how can we improve the career path for not only research software engineers, but also for data scientists. And you see here we have a research engineer, software engineer in HPC workshop at supercomputing. And we will have a research software engineer workshop at the eScience conference in Salt Lake City in October also. So if any one of you is interested, I'm happy to provide more information. And we had this year also a community building workshop funded by Sloan, that was in April. And we go to a couple of other events where we had booths and talks, like SciPy. So you might have seen, as PyData group, our RSE event at SciPy, and we were at PERC. And why I'm talking about all this, so it's to also show we are really, reaching out to the community. We are trying to involve the community, that we have these grassroots activities, that because there's so much potential in the US to have this momentum to change academic culture in that regard. And so one of the things, you see a very happy Sandra in the one picture. That was our first swag, like so with our logo on it. So that's the first edition that we had last year, and this is a Tabla. And we had some for the community building workshop, and we said, okay, we still have some left, so it would be nice to have a raffle. And we brought out the raffle, and we had 80 applicants who wanted a Tabla or the backpack. And we used also this opportunity to ask them whether they can tell us what they really like about USRSE and whether we could cite them. And a lot of them gave us a sentence or more, and a lot of the people who said, yeah, you can can cite me with my first name and, the last name that, first letter of the last name. So the best part of the USRC is the community of active and friendly individuals who are always willing to help their fellow members, follow members, fellow, like that. So, and that is, I was very thrilled to see that we had a lot of comments about the community and that we are an open community. And I think we achieved that really also for focusing on DEI from the beginning and having really a core team that is giving so much, of their leisure time to build this community. And I'm sure NumFOCUS and PyData also knows it lives often with the ones who are organizing things and the core people who are getting active. So that is really exciting. I also like that people feel like that it's really for countless research fields, that it's not focused on one research field. And and the next citation is really about that, that we love to make things better for the communities and for education and to build better and to do better. So I really also like this citation here from one of our members. So if we look now, there's on the one hand side, US Research Software Engineer Association, but also in the US, we want to build the Research Software Sustainability Institute, because this model was really very successful in the UK to have the grassroots and to have something with funding to be able to organize more around an institute where you can have fellowships and different organizations. So I'm one of the co-PIs of EARThy. And so we have these different areas to conceptualize really how should this US Research Software Sustainability Institute look like, then cut across the existing activities funded by NSF and beyond. And I mean, there's, for example, better scientific software funded by DOE, that we are working together there and not trying, not reinventing the wheel. So that we have direct or indirect, really positive impact on software development and maintenance projects. And that we focus on the entire research software ecosystem, including the people, the research software engineers who create, maintain, and use research software. And also not only the research software engineers, but also the users then. And to really create or help to create together with USRC to have this supportive and inclusive community. So EARThy was funded until last year, the conceptualization. And we had workshops, we had a survey, we had ethnographic studies, we tried a winter school. And yeah, we have this area of communication and outreach. And so you can see here a picture of one of the workshops where we were brainstorming really what does the community need besides the things that are also happening with other projects and USRC? And what are all the challenges? And we came up then with this kind of metrics that we really need development support for, consulting and, short-term small project support that they can get it from off the ground, and that we can show that it has research impact and it's there for science. The incubator is then really technology advice, business planning, usability advice. And this will support, again, also software and science and research. Then we have seen, training. Training is something really that is needed in the field, and that people can go there for winter, summer school, or in different formats where they can split, for example, online courses. And that would support them software people and all against science. We have the science always with everything we looked at, we think it will be always supportive for science. And we look, how can we create some policies around research software, and especially also for, sorry for that. Ah, so that there are campaigns for, especially for career paths, and that there is around community really fellowships, blogs, website, workshops that works together with USRC. So and this was what we have done. We have the 5 co-PIs. We worked with 16 senior personnel. We had 9 advisory committee members. And in 3 years, we had 47 public talks and 30 winter school students selected from 169 applications. We did our survey. I will talk a little bit more about that. And we had 5 workshops and from 90 different institutions with 150 workshop attendees and 9 newsletters and 36 blog posts and 3 ethnographic studies. And so the survey is published, so the raw data is out there. We wrote also a paper that got published at the beginning of this year, so you can see the reference here. I'm happy also to forward it. So we got really also interest from many different disciplines. If you look here, the mathematical and physical sciences were the most people who were involved, 480. But you see that, for example, also medicine, we had even 7 from creative and performing arts. Yeah, it's not, but I would say the diversity gave us a good insight. We also really liked that there was social sciences in a high number to understand this part of research also. And we asked them to define themselves. Are there researchers interested in research software engineering, or developers, or both? Because in that field, we have a lot of, as you can see, the combination that people say, oh, I'm still a researcher in my domain, but I'm also a kind of a research software engineer. So if we look at the different aspects here, so we had, you will see, we had a lot of questions, for example, about training, about available resources, about whether they can see a career path on their side. And so I picked some of the answers we got during the survey. And here, for example, you can see how people answered the combination of developers and researchers and the developers on what are really aspects of software development that are more difficult than they should be, because there's not the training or not the right funding or not the tools there. And you can see that it's a little bit different in the combination that, for example, communication is something that where the researchers who are also developers said, this is so hard. And it shouldn't be that way. Why developers thought it's not the hardest topic. They thought really to get the person is what is really shouldn't be that hard. Then, which is really, shows one of the problems in the ecosystem is there is not sufficient time for training. If you see that really researchers say, okay, there's almost no time. If you see here, the dark ones are the no. So that is a real problem. So that means we need a cultural change in that regard, that there should be time for this. Then so how are people supported really from their institutions? And also here you can see that there is really a big lag on the consulting financial side, while the infrastructure seems to be a kind of okay. So people felt like, oh yes, it's adequate. Or but it's then, it's still inadequate in the level of support, even so if, for example, if the infrastructure is okay. So, and it's really, so career path is one also of my areas where I'm very keen about and enthusiastic to improve that for the community. And you can see that really career advancement for software developers in academia seems to be really missing. So there is a don't know aspect, but which also means that there is not a clarity at institutions about it, or maybe they don't even have a career path for research software engineer. And then some developers have, when they're already working at an institution, seems to have a better experiences. But the combination of both are really looking at it like, oh, there's not many support there, or opportunities. So if you're interested, we wrote everything in an implementation plan, what kind of support we would like to give via the ERSI. And so the conceptualization ended last year, and we just got a couple of grants, re-energized ERSI again. And so one is an eager grant to look really deeper into, characterizing research software from NSF awards to really show what is needed there. Then we have 3 grants from the Sloan Foundation. And then one we are looking for postdocs, the other one we are looking for a community manager. So if you are interested there, please reach out to us. So the outlook is really that we hope that we can build this software institute, research software sustainability institute in the US, that US RSE is further growing, that we are working together with the centers of excellence, which are often also very related with software and infrastructure. And so the SGX3, the Science Gateways Community Institute, just got the funding to be continued for the next 5 years. So I'm a co-PI of this. And the community of community is one looking into really all these different professions, which are not so much supported at the moment yet. It gets better, but it's still a lot of work ahead of us. So it's not only research software engineers, but HPC facilitators, research computing professionals, research data professionals, who are all not having or don't need to have this traditional academic path. And there's a lot of momentum in that area at the moment. And with that, I would like to switch to a Mentimeter. I hope you would like to fill that out for me to understand. Oh, sorry. So you see the number here. So if you go to menti.com and put in this code, and maybe someone can also copy it in the chat, or has done that already. Thank you so much. So that would be, yeah, my interest. So, okay, so 3 people already who know now that there is an RSE community. This is very good. I'm glad that one already did know about it. So glad that we are doing this webinar. So yeah, so I hope some new people joining it. So I'm not so sure why. Okay. Are you yourself a research software engineer from the definition, or maybe an ally who says, "Oh, I'm I'm not myself, but I'm using research software, and I would be really interested to improve the situation for people there," or you are not sure whether this is something. So research software engineer. So if I see the numbers here, um, then I think it's great that we talk about this, because only one person did know that there is this community, and four would themselves see as an RSE, and the one person who's not sure, you're probably an ally because you are interested. So that is very cool. I'm not sure. Okay. So would you like to join a regional group in Chicago then, for example? Would that something you could imagine would be interesting to just have something like, coming together and discuss maybe challenges, uh. Not sure I understand, because at the moment it's still also building. As long as you don't know what's really going on, I'm totally with you. It's probably hard to say whether you really would like to do it. But yeah, we are working on developing a concept there. So, and this is like an open-ended question. If you want to put maybe just a couple of terms in there. What do you think could USRC do for you? What would be interesting for you? Could it be training? Could it be having a community? Could it be something, yeah, like um, giving you a platform for questions in a Slack channel, of finding projects to contribute to? I like that also very much. More awareness of research software engineers and training, that makes totally sense. Help change incentive. Oh, yes, absolutely. And provide a platform for exchange of ideas. Absolutely. I think the incentives, that is one of the big topics for improving the situation for research software engineers. Learning and education, training, yeah. So, and letting industry practitioner know when some research software is ready for wider adoption. That is a great idea also. I like that. Because the collaboration with industry is still also a very wide open field, I think, where a lot of things need to be done. Thank you for all these answers. So what would be your ideas for your own involvement? Would you be happy maybe to organize training with people, together? Would it be enough for you to have a community? Would it be something like, oh, a community call, or a working group on something specific like Python libraries would be of interest for you? I know it's a little bit tougher to answer that in 1 or 2 minutes. So let me look at the chat whether I missed something. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. We are not in Chicago. Okay. So it would be also the wider area, but so regional groups will also be in all over the US. So that is a goal. So if you're not in Chicago, yeah, we hope that in your area will be also soon then another regional group. So with this, I will finish the Mentimeter. Go back to my presentation, which is at an end, and I would like to acknowledge in this wonderful ecosystem my colleagues and collaborators from ERC and USRC, but also from the Sciencescape Community Institute. There's a lot what went here into the slides, and thanks for your attention. So, any questions?
Okay.
Oh yeah, Ethan. Oh yeah, the 25 character limit. So Python libraries, I'm happy to, if you join USRC, it's for free. There's a Slack channel, and there is already the Python group started there, but it's very fresh and not very active at the moment. I think it's very fresh. So if you would like to do something there, that's absolutely.
Are you open for questions?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So at the beginning of the slide, you showed the NSF as a funder and all the software it funds. When I communicated with the NSF officers at the time, it seems that they fund only academic institutions. And part of the problem is that a lot of the software research is actually not done now by academic institutions. Yes, there is some contribution, this and that, but basically there's kind of a detachment between academia and actually the people who now fuel the software that's being used in academia. I see it all the time. So did you try to open a channel or communicate with them to perhaps give funds for things like this outside academia?
So we talked with NSF, and this is also now the EGA grant. What we want to look at is what kind of software is used in academia and which ones are funded by NSF, and to have the comparison. And we hope that this grant leads to collaborations with industry and national labs. And, national labs have also a lot of creation of software. So, and I know that they cannot accept the NSF funding. It has to be DOE or DOD. So I think better scientific software, for example, that group is funded by DOE, and we have a close collaboration with them. So we really try to bridge there and make the situation better. So I think if NSF realizes that it would be good, there could be, we hope that could be more collaboration between the funding bodies then. If they need to stay, I'm not totally sure why national labs are not allowed to accept the NSF funding, or they cannot get it. But maybe we hope that something at least collaborative can be done between those ecosystems.
I wasn't talking about national labs. I was talking about, like, for example, a lot of the Python libraries that are developed all over, not necessarily by academia, a lot of the time industry, a lot of the time just people on their own time.
Yeah,
so it's like
that is true. Yeah, sorry. Also, industry
is what I was meaning.
Yeah.
So basically, the funding goes to fuel academia, but but the people who are actually fueling academia now by software are actually not getting paid. So
I know,
this is what I was meaning.
yeah. Sorry for this. Yeah. So industry. Honestly, I think that would be also something good. I know that NSF has the SBIR program where also industry and startups are funded. The possibility is that would be great so to include industry as consultants. We can do that. So that means if there are groups who ask for academic money, from NSF, they can also include consultants for certain tasks. So maybe that is something also to catch up on and say, okay, this person did all these fantastic Python libraries, which are used all over the research domain. I think that is also a little bit on the academic cultural change we need, that people are thinking about that. And we have one group in the Slack channel who are thinking about how to bring industry and academia together in the software space. So that might be something to suggest also with the next grant, why not including someone from industry who are working already on these Python libraries, on these JavaScript modules, whatever it is, what would fit for it. I think when the researchers start to do this, then NSF won't have a problem with that. They changed, for example, in some of the programs already that you have to have like a one-pager for research software engineers to say, oh, what is the institution doing for supporting this role, if you have them in your budget. So I could imagine if you say, oh yeah, it's a research software engineer, but they are from industry because they are the experts in that specific library we need. I think that could work when researchers start to do that. So yeah, but yeah, definitely a fantastic also suggestion. So Ravi, I see a comment for the Slack channel. Let me send you the URL where you can join, and then oh, I'm sorry, it's at the moment a little bit slow. I hope you still hear me well. So let me put that into the Zoom. So here is how you can join. It's for free, and I promise. As I said, I even have the problem more that, with the newsletter, that I'm not always monthly directly, but so we won't spam you. You can join there, and so the Slack channels you will see they are quite lively, and you can see the different working groups and everything. Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh. I have another question. It's like I was waiting for someone to jump in. Otherwise, I'll be asking all the questions all out. You said incentives. What are the talks about what incentives are possible that you currently have, ideas or things that you heard? Because this is one of the things that I see problems, like people who develop great software, they're having problems getting funding. They do all sorts of things. I talk to them and I see what's like. They eventually today, whatever, the people who are actually doing things, I have to do other things just to create this great software. So what incentives are you providing? I have some ideas of my own, but I don't want to, send them in.
So with the incentives, what we are thinking about, because academia and also national labs probably will never be able to be in competition really with industry with the salary. It just that won't be, we hope that it gets a little bit better, but there will be never Google salaries in academia. So we are aware of that, but we think that incentives are, first of all, if people are really interested in research or to support research, that they have a good career path and not have to do something else, as you said, to just support the software they want to write. So the one idea is that there are really these career paths where you say you don't have to write papers, you don't have to, bring in money to contribute to be able to stay in academia. You can be really, if you want to, that is okay. But it's not necessary for this career path. So that is something we are looking into. That there is a recognition also, if researchers, need software, that they put them into their grants to have a piece of, a research software engineer and in their projects, so that we can offer something like a really interesting landscape where you can work with different researchers. That was one of the incentives we are talking about, but really also the recognition that academia sees research software engineers are really important for research nowadays, and that this is reflected in being treated with a real, with a respect, being integrated into projects, and not being treated, and I don't mean but everyone probably knows what I mean. It's like not being treated like a PhD student, like, oh, you just have to do it, and you work. I can send you an email at 10 p.m. in the evening, and it has to be done tomorrow at 9 a.m. No, they are not, PhD students. They are professionals. So it's so I think, and this mismatch still, that there is not a real profession yet officially at all universities. That is, I think, something we really want to change to make that situation better. And that would be, I think, an incentive to say, if you cannot, offer the money, you have to offer a fantastic, welcoming environment where people would like to stay, and interesting work.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Well, we're coming a little bit past 7, but thank you so much for like a really lively discussion and for leading us through that topic, Sandra. We'll have another meeting coming up next month, so keep an eye out for some notifications. Usually always at the last Thursday. But thank you so much.
So thank you. This was really a nice discussion. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, it was really cool. I want to tell like my lab who has like a software developer, because I don't think he knows about it. So I'm like, yeah, good needs to know. But thanks so much. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks. Bye.